24 years old, and I had lost a lot of people, a lot of loved ones to gun violence.
Okay. So, can you tell me what brought you here and makes you want to talk about this today?
Gun violence is definitely getting out of hand. It has been out of hand for years, and no matter what people try, it's like it never works. It never works.
Okay, so can you tell me about your story and personal experiences?
Starting from the year 2008 actually. I feel like that's where it kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
The first person, we were, thick as thieves. From kindergarten all the way up until, it happened. We were always together. And he was murdered. And from there, it was just, it felt like almost everybody that I knew was being gunned down. And then I think the one that hit me the worst was my cousin, Chris, that he's from California, born and raised in California, but he lived in Alabama at the time, and he was set up by two females, and he got murdered in his studio.
Wow. So how old were these two people, the two victims, and how old were you at the time of their murders?
The first, this was 10 years ago. So I was 14 when the first happened. And then 6 years ago, I was 18 when that happened.
And were they around the same age as you?
The first, yes. He was 1 year older than I was. Or like I'll say, a year and some months older than me. And then my cousin was around the same year, maybe 2 years older than me.
Okay. So what do you remember most about the days that this happened? You could talk about both situations.
The first situation, I remember when I got the news, I was at Calvin College. That's when I'm burning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so I was at Calvin College doing it was some type of college class program or something, and I got the call. We were in the cafeteria, and I was taking my tray and throwing away like my scraps and stuff, and then I got the call, and it was just like everything just stopped. It was life stopped, the world stopped, people stopped, time stopped. If I wasn't mistaken, I felt like my heart stopped for a second. It was, I don't know, it was a very numbing feeling. And the same with my cousin. I would have to say that was worse because of the way he died. The right side of his face got shot off, his right arm got shot off, they blew a hole in his back. So it was, there's really not a feeling that you can explain. And in between those times, there were a lot more. I think at the age of 24, I believe I've been to over about 200 funerals, maybe 250 funerals.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to a lot of funerals.
So when you were in these situations and got this news, were there people around you to support you? Like, how did people react?
In 2008, there were a lot of people that were around, and everybody knew this person. He was very popular. He was very known. He was very a really good, generous and kind and very goofy person. So with that situation, there was a support to a certain extent, and then my cousin, there was support, but it was kind of like a different type of support. It was, you had the support of your family, but at the same time, it wasn't comforting. You know, it was just, oh, this is what happened, let's grieve, let's cry, and then everybody moves on with their life, which is not healthy.
Right. So how did you grieve?
Honestly, when in 2008, the way I grieved that death was kind of like an out-of-body experience, because I felt like I was hallucinating like the first day, because it happened before school started. And once school started, I thought he was going to come to school. Like, I was just like, I completely forgot about everything that happened in the summertime. And I was just like, well, where is he? Like, he's usually here right now. You know, and I was like, I literally thought I was tripping for a second. And everybody was like, Kayla, he's not, you know, this is what, you don't remember what happened? I'm like, no, I'm like, that did not happen. Like, I was,
wow.
Yeah, it just completely, my mind did a 360, and it was just like, I feel like I kind of made myself think that it didn't happen just so I could feel like it didn't happen. You know, I didn't want to feel the pain. I didn't want to feel the heartache of losing that person. So yeah, that's how I handled that. But the other situation, I indulged, and this is bad because I indulged myself in a lot of drinking at the time during the funeral, because the funeral was held in Alabama, and I just indulged myself. The night before, I got really, really drunk. I got really, really high, and I just said, fuck it. Excuse my French. I didn't want to deal with that either.
So, when would you say these deaths like weighed on you the most? Was it immediately when they happened, or sometime after?
I think they both weighed on me immediately. It was just the initial impact. I'm trying to find the right word. The initial impact was unreal. So even though I knew what happened and I understood what happened, I couldn't believe what happened. So I made myself believe that it wasn't real.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit more about the feelings like that were evoked by both situations? Like, were you angry, confused, or you sad? Did you want to retaliate?
I did want to retaliate, actually. I think I wanted to retaliate a lot of times. But I was definitely, I wouldn't necessarily say confused. I was amazed for a moment. I was sad. I was very sad. Very, when they say that your heart breaks, you can actually feel it. I felt the pain in my chest. I don't know, it's like somebody being ripped away from you. It's not really a comfortable feeling. I was very uncomfortable. I was very depressed. I actually lost my job. I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. Yeah. a lot of stuff went downhill after that happened.
Well, how did those play out as far as the people responsible? Like, do you feel your family got justice? You know?
The one that happened in 2008, no. This case is a closed case. A cold case. They can't find the person that did it, I guess. That's what I last heard on it. My cousin, on the other hand, they got the guy that did it. But I don't feel like he got justice because the person I think he's only serving like 5 years.
Wow.
And I don't feel like that's justice enough to take someone's life who was, a pillar in the community. Like, he did everything he did. His music, everybody, like, his music was everywhere, in the South. And it's for someone to just rip that away from another person that's trying to do good, I feel like it's very, very selfish.
Definitely. Did either of them have any kids or anything?
No, neither one of them had kids, thank God.
Have you forgiven the people responsible for these killings?
That's always a hard question. Because I have, not for them, but for me, for my own sanity. But at the same time, I haven't, because when people go out and they kill and shoot and everything that's going on as far as gun violence, a lot of people don't think about what happens after that. And if they were to put themselves in the shoes of people's, victims' families, you don't understand the type of feeling that you have when somebody is just ripped away from you like that. Like, it's not, I think that's one of the worst feelings, is losing, somebody, your family member, or somebody that you were really close with getting murdered. It's just not a simple, well, they didn't die from this, they got murdered. You get what I'm saying? And that's very hard to take, and that's very hard to understand and actually analyze the fact that someone was so heartless and mindless and thoughtless to think about the aftermath that happens, after somebody's killed.
Have you talked to others about how these situations have made you feel personally?
I have. I feel like losing someone to gun violence is a little bit easier to talk about because it's going on. It's there's so much going on right now with gun violence, so it's a lot of people can relate to the situation. So it's, like I said, it's easier to talk about. It's easier to get out. It's easier to release than a lot of other situations.
And so when you do talk about the both of them or their names come up, what feelings come up for you? Like, is it like joy and memories, or is it that hurt again?
I feel like there's a balance. I still have the pain. A lot of the time, I still have the tears, the sadness, the anger. But the other part of it was, good memories that we had, a lot of good times that we had, funny situations that happened, that you can sit and laugh about, which it kind of makes the pain a little bit easier to take, to deal with.
So at this point in your life, would you say you've accepted it? Everything that's happened? Like, I know you said earlier you were kind of in denial about it and you convinced yourself that it didn't happen.
At this age right now, I've accepted it. I've accepted the fact that they're no longer here. You know, I've accepted the fact that whatever memory, legacy, remembrance, or, you know, that they left is still here. Their spirit is still here. And I can't dwell on what happened 4 years ago or 6 years ago or 10 years ago. You get what I'm saying? Because the world constantly moves. Time constantly moves. So you can't just stay stuck in that moment. You have to leave.
Okay, so this is a turnaround where we talk about when things started to move in a positive direction. So when would you say things started to improve for you?
Considering this happened a year before I tried to commit suicide, a lot of things turned around. I'll say maybe 2000. Nope, not even gonna say that year. Last year. Yeah, it took a while.
And what brought you there? Like, how do you feel like you reached that point?
I feel like I reached that point once I understood that everything happens for a reason. You can't expect anyone to have the same life expectancy as you. You know, you can't. Everybody has, like I said before, everybody has their purpose. And if God said that they lived out their purpose by that time, then, you know, I have to accept that, and I can't judge it. I can't try to change it. I can't defer it. You know, I just have to let what it is be what it is.
Okay, so going back to your loved ones that you lost, how do you think you can carry on their legacies?
By speaking about it, by being a voice. You know, it's a lot of, I feel like millennials have the most experience with gun violence. And if me speaking out at least is able to help one person or two people, I feel like that's more than, you know, not being able to help nobody at all.
What would you say needs to be done in your community?
A lot.
Definitely.
A lot of, there needs to be leadership. A lot of leadership, a lot of mentoring, a lot of teaching and guiding. Because I feel like a lot of these, and I would call them kids because they act like kids, they have mindsets like kids. A lot of these kids are lost, and they don't have parents, they don't have teachers or leaders.
I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, and my last question is, what advice would you give someone who's going through what you went through?
Some advice that I would give to someone that's going through what I'm going through, or that's been through what I've been through, is to step up and be that voice. Don't be afraid to speak out. Don't be afraid to feel what you feel. Don't be afraid to think what you think. And don't be afraid to show your emotion. Because it doesn't help to keep it in. And it's not going to help those who are failing at learning what life is about.
So is there anything that you didn't get to say that you want to say?
Stop killing people.
Please.
Please. No, I just Whoever watches this, I love you. It's very important. I feel like people need to know that. You're amazing, you're beautiful, you're smart, intelligent, and you have it in you to make it.
Thank you so much.